Hello furniture friends, welcome back. This week's video is going to be a lot different than the videos that I normally share with you guys here on the channel. I've got a ton of other stuff going on in my life this week, so I'm not going to have time to do a full beginning to end furniture flip. And since we are so close to hitting the 100,000 subscriber mark, holy cow, thank you guys. I thought this would be the perfect opportunity for me to take a couple of minutes to sit down, just me and the white wall, and answer some of your questions. I asked you guys over in my Instagram stories as well as here on YouTube in my community tab to send me any questions that you have about anything to do with me, my furniture business, YouTube, what I'm doing here, and you guys did not disappoint. I have a ton of questions to get through here on my laptop, so let's just bust into it with how did you get started and when did you decide to make this a business? So I've been painting furniture for just over 5 years, I think now, and it really started out of necessity for my own home. We moved from a teeny tiny little bungalow into our current home, which is hopefully our forever home. And I was suddenly faced with all of these extra rooms that we didn't have in the old house that needed to be furnished. So with budget in mind, I took to YouTube just as we do, and consumed whatever furniture makeover, furniture painting content I could find at the time. I headed out to my local thrift stores and found pieces that would work and that I thought I could transform into the pieces that I really wanted to buy from the big box furniture stores. And that's how I got started in this whole gig. As far as when I decided to turn it into a business, was pretty much right then and there. As soon as I had finished my first couple of makeovers for our living room, I had a lot of encouragement and support from friends and family to maybe try picking up some items and seeing if I could resell them for a profit after I had put some work into them. And, you know, my in-laws really encouraged me and told me, you know, there are people out there that have furniture that they don't love anymore, and they either can't afford to buy new furniture or they have a sentimental attachment to their furniture. And you could totally make a business out of recreating those old pieces. So the business side of it really happened at the same time that I was working on the stuff for myself. Next question is, how long were you in business before you decided to get your business license and everything else that comes along with entrepreneurship? So I would say about a year into my business, I had just been selling pieces from home on Facebook Marketplace, and I was actually invited to start selling my furniture out of a new artisans market, the town next door to me. And since I was going to be selling out of a proper retail environment, I decided that would be a good time to officially register my business, which I just did online with our local government. So Salvaged by K. Scott was registered as a business. I have a business number. Pretty much the only thing you need that business number for here in Ontario anyways is to file your taxes. And you also need that number to apply for an HST number or a sales tax number. So about a year in. Next question is, how long were you in business before you created your YouTube channel? A couple of years. I really didn't ever think that I was going to be here doing what I'm doing. It was never my intention. I just really fell in love with the process of making over furniture, and I was happy doing that. But again, friends and family piped up and were really persistent with me reaching out and sharing what I was learning myself, what I had already learned, and just how I do what I do with people on YouTube, because people want to know. I did finally, eventually work up enough courage to turn the camera around on myself. I had been sharing a ton of stuff in Instagram stories forever, since the beginning. But YouTube was a whole nother venture for me. So it took me a few years to really hype myself up into it. We're probably coming up on the 2-year mark, maybe a year and a half. And it took a while. It took a while to get the ball rolling, but eventually I had a video that took off, and I found a whole bunch of you who were interested in what I was doing, and it's just been an amazing experience. So that's that. Were there any times that you've wanted to quit or felt discouraged about the possibility of the business failing, or did you always know it would take off? So I kind of need to separate that into the furniture flipping business and the YouTube business. The furniture flipping business was sort of always on the side. We have always had a full-time income from my husband's job that is really what pays our bills. So furniture was always kind of extra income to pay for kids' sports or, whatever expenses popped up. So I didn't really ever have a lot of pressure around it succeeding. If I made money, great. If I didn't make money, oh well. So on that aspect of it, I've never really felt that pressure around the business succeeding. It was just able to do what it was going to do and be what it was going to be, and evolve naturally and organically. The YouTube side of things, I have absolutely felt discouraged and defeated. It took a really long time for my YouTube channel to actually do anything or be seen by anybody. So there have definitely been a few times in the early days where I just wanted to delete everything and pretend like it never happened, and keep sharing over on my Instagram stories where I had friends and people who were interested in what I was doing. But everybody's journey on YouTube is different. There are tons of people who are in this same furniture niche that put out their first video or their first couple of videos and they get picked up by the algorithm and they have 10,000 subscribers before you know it. That wasn't my journey. It was tough goings for the first probably 6 months of YouTube, but we finally got there. I feel like we're in a great place. I am so grateful again to be so close to 100,000 subscribers. That's a big deal. Yeah, I'm rambling. Okay, next question. This is a good one. I remember you set up a little shop front or showroom with your friend a while back with your work on display. I was wondering how that side of the business is going. It's not. It's not going. So I did have a good girlfriend of mine who ran workshops for hand-painted signs. So she would offer her services to groups to come in and paint signs and do other little painted projects. And she's amazing. She rented out a fairly large space to run her workshops and asked if I would be interested in furnishing the front of that workshop space and using that as a display area or showroom, professional retail space for my furniture. And I was all about it. I moved in my stuff. We had great success for the first couple of months. And then a pandemic happened. And right at the very beginning, obviously, everything closed up. We weren't really sure what was going to happen, what the future was, how long things were going to last. But the owner of that building did actually ask if they could have that space back for their own business. And since we were kind of in limbo, not knowing when we would be able to have the public back into that space, it just kind of dissolved naturally. Her business is doing amazing. She's doing fantastic things. My business has completely changed from focusing on those furniture sales to now I spend most of my time here creating content for you guys on YouTube. So it was a blessing in disguise. But yeah, I am not currently selling out of any formal retail setting, just selling here out of my home, one piece at a time that I work on each week to create a video. And yeah, that's that. And the next question is, have you tried selling from a shop with multiple vendors or booths? So yes, I have had in my 5-ish years of business, 2 formal retail settings. The first at an artisan's market that had a whole bunch of different furniture vendors and all kinds of handmade wares, candles, soaps, crocheted stuff, painted art, woodworking, like all of it, all of the handmade artisanal vendors that don't really have a traditional retail setting were all under one roof. That was a great experience for a while, but I found it really difficult with my furniture, having to, first of all, keep up with the demand. My stuff was selling really fast, faster than I could paint it. So that was a struggle. I always kind of felt like I was behind and that I needed to push out more and more and more to keep my space full. So that was a pressure that I wasn't really fond of. And the other difficulties that I ran into with that were I was still doing a lot of the marketing. So I was still posting my pieces for sale on Facebook Marketplace and promoting them on my Facebook and Instagram, and just kind of leading people over to that retail spot instead of bringing them to my home. So I was still putting in all of that work behind the scenes, and just the process of moving furniture, especially large pieces, once you've got it finished and you have to wrap it up, put it in your vehicle, take it to the store, take it out of your vehicle, unwrap it, get it displayed, and then you don't have any control over it. You don't have any control over somebody knocking into it or leaving their old Starbucks cup on it for a couple of days before someone notices. It never sat right with me. A little bit of that, I guess, is my controlling nature. I really like to have control over the whole customer experience, the whole transaction. I want to see my piece before someone comes to pick it up. I want to be able to go over it with a fine-tooth comb, make sure that it's all good and ready to go. So yeah, I did end up coming back to sell out of my home eventually with that one. And then my friend Kimberly with the workshop space, I decided to try it again, and it just kind of naturally dissolved. So those are my 2 booth or vendor experiences. There are a ton of people who that's their business. They love it. They're successful at it. It just wasn't the right choice for me. I had to move. I was sitting on my knees, losing feeling in my toes. Okay, next up, do you have your own website? If so, where did you do that? And do you have an LLC? I do have my own website. It is www.salvagedbykscott.com. And I actually built my own website with Wix.com. I'll leave any links to anything that has links down in the description box so that you can reference those later. But yeah, I built my website with Wix. It is a really easy DIY website building site, website that has a whole bunch of great templates. You just plop in your own information, set it up the way that you like. And yeah, it's been great. There's not a ton on my website. It's more just a general landing space for people to find out about me. Has all of my links to all of the different things that I'm affiliated with. And I do post items that I have for sale there when they are available. So yeah, that's the website. And do I have an LLC? I do not. I am not an LLC. We don't have that here in Canada. It's not part of the business structure. I am a sole proprietor, so I am my business. My business is me. We are one and the same. I think the next step up from that would be a partnership, an incorporation or a corporation, none of which really fit with the way that my business is structured. So yeah, I'm a sole proprietor. I am my business. My profits, my business's profits are my profits. My business's losses are my losses. And that's just kind of the most appropriate spot for me to be in, doing what I'm doing, selling furniture and being an influencer. Am I an influencer? I guess an influencer, a content creator, that side of things. That's what works for me. I would love to know how you got where you are today, how it all started, what kind of education is needed to do what you do. So, we already talked about how I got started. How did I get where I am today? Again, there's kind of two different aspects. There's the being successful with selling furniture, and there's the social media side of things. And I think they kind of both work together. I'm successful. I have been successful because I'm annoying. And that's the honest to goodness truth. If you're going to be your own business and you want people to come to you to purchase what you've got out there, they need to think of you. You need to be at the top of their mind. You need to be on Facebook. You need to be on Instagram. You need to be on YouTube. You need to be on TikTok. You need to be on Twitter. And you need to be on all of them all the time. You need to scream from the rooftops who you are, what you're doing, and why people should care. And if you're not doing that consistently and persistently, nobody knows. And there is so much, we get bombarded with so much stuff from so many different places that it's really easy to get lost in the shuffle. So you need to make sure that you are right in people's faces all the time, and use all of the social media platforms that are available to you to tell people what you have for sale or what you have to offer so that they can come to you and get it. What education is needed? None. I guess my formal education, you would say, is all in retail and customer service and human resources. That was my life before starting my family and then starting this furniture business. I guess the customer service side definitely plays into what I do now, but I don't have any formal education as far as furniture painting or carpentry or any of that stuff. It's all self-taught. I've learned it all from YouTube and from trial and error. And really, I think getting your hands dirty and doing it, seeing what works and what doesn't work for yourself in your own situation is really the best, most valuable education there is. This is a quick one. What tools do you use to keep track of your furniture finances? I'm new to this. I use an app on my phone. It is Intuit QuickBooks for small business. It is a really great app. I think I pay $9.99 a month for it, but it's all on my phone. It is hooked up to my bank accounts and my credit cards. So whenever I have a financial transaction, that is automatically on there. I like to try once a week to go in, manually enter anything that I've paid cash for that isn't automatically tracked. There's a feature there where you can also take a photograph of your receipts, and those get filed once a week as well. I just have a little accordion file in the kitchen where I shove all the paperwork. And I go in once a week, and basically you just swipe left or right, whether it's a business transaction or a personal transaction. What else do I use that for? There's an invoicing feature if you need to send an invoice or an official receipt to anybody. And it also tracks my mileage. You can select an option to have it track where your phone is going using GPS. And again, the same thing. I go in once a week and I just swipe left or right, whether that trip was a business trip or a personal trip, and it magically takes care of the rest. So that is what I use to keep track of all of the financial stuff. How do you juggle this gig with being a mom? That has been my biggest challenge. I have 3 little kids at home with me. Girl, being a mom is not easy. Being a working mom is not easy. Being a self-employed working mom, man, we set ourselves up for failure sometimes, I think. I got really lucky with the timing of things. So when I started, my youngest, Lincoln, had just started full day kindergarten. So both of my kids were at school full time during the week, and that gave me a lot of time to figure out what I was doing. It just happened to be that kind of time in life where I probably would have been looking or starting to work outside of the home, doing something part-time. So I was really lucky with that. I cannot imagine having to do this with like little people. But I would say just give yourself some grace, girl. It's okay. It's okay. If you don't get stuff done in the timeline that you set out for yourself. And remember, you are your boss. You are not living up to anybody's expectations other than your own. So you set your schedule with what works for you and your family. You don't need to be pumping out piece after piece after piece of furniture if that's not what works for you right now. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. All right, let's bust into some questions about paints, top coats, and tools. The first one is, what is the best top coat for heavy use? And the next question is, what type of sealer or top coat do you use? I am a hardcore Varathane diamond wood finish girl. It's my favorite. It's kind of an all-purpose for everything that I work on. It is not called Varathane Diamond Wood Finish in the US. It is marketed differently. Don't ask me why. I don't know. It's in a blue and white can, and it is called Varathane Ultimate Water-Based Polyurethane, I think. I'll look it up and I'll link it down below. Same stuff, different can. And I love it. 3 coats of that on anything is pretty heavy duty. If you want anything more heavy duty than that, I would suggest Gator Hide by Dixie Belle. It's pretty much bulletproof. Yeah, that's my top coat recommendation. What is the best way to apply top coat if you don't have a sprayer? I would recommend getting yourself a painting sponge or an applicator sponge. Country Chic and Dixie Belle both sell a similar product. Or you could probably use something from the hardware store, as long as you test it out to make sure that it is lint-free or not going to leave any little sponge particles in your top coat or leach any color out of it. But I find if I'm not spraying top coat, using a sponge is the best way to do it. With the sponges, you want to make sure that you get them wet and then wring out all of the excess water. And then I just pour my top coat out into a little tray. You dunk your sponge in and then just slide it across your top. Yeah, that's my number 2 after the sprayer method of application would be a sponge applicator. Do you get brush lines when sealing with Varathane top coat when using a paintbrush? Yes, you do. I think, again, we need to give ourselves some grace. Hand-painted pieces have brush strokes in them. And that's okay. That's okay. If you use a brush, you'll have brush strokes. If you use a roller, you'll have that roller texture. It's okay. It's okay. You're not going to get a sprayed finish out of a paintbrush. There are a lot of things that you can do to minimize your brush strokes, like using a damp brush or misting your paint with a little bit of water as you're working, making sure that all of your brush strokes are going in the same direction, doing several light thin coats as opposed to adding a whole bunch of paint at one time. Sanding in between coats can help with brush strokes, but yeah, when you're brushing, you have brush strokes, and that's okay. You have my permission to have brush strokes in your painted furniture pieces that you paint with a brush. On the same topic, what are the best brushes? So my go-tos that I reach for time and time again are zebra brushes, zebra with an I. They are really affordable, really high quality brushes. They have more bristles. What do they call that? Filament pack out? I think they call it filament pack out. But they're just more densely packed bristles. They are so soft. They apply paint like a dream. And they have a bunch of really furniture task specific brushes. They have a round brush, which is really great for painting round surfaces like spindles. Their square and triangle brushes are amazing for really fine, straight trim details on furniture. And then they have the Palm Pro brush, which just has a really short, stubby handle that fits in the palm of your hand and is really designed to just be an extension of your hand that I love. And then they have like the standard angled sash brushes that we kind of all think of when we think of a paintbrush, and they're phenomenal as well. My other favorites for chalk painting specifically are the Country Chic oval brushes. They're also fantastic synthetic brushes. They have the traditional chalk brush oval shape to them, and they clean so nicely. They hold a lot of paint, so they apply paint really well. You can do like the whole top of a 6-foot dresser with 1 or 2 dips of paint. Yeah, those are my top brush recommendations. Best brand of white, not creamy, white. This is easy. Rustoleum chalked linen white. You can get it at pretty much any hardware store. It's a great paint, and it is a true bright, crisp white. So that is my go-to white. How do you decide what colors to use and what hardware? There are so many choices. Oh, tell me about it. Tell me about it. I wish I had a better answer to this. When I see a piece of furniture, I automatically get a vision of it in my head of what it's going to look like. That's the whole story. I see a piece and then I see what it's supposed to look like. And then I come home and I figure out what color I need to order to get that look, and I figure out what hardware I need to order to get that look, and that's it. That's how it happens. Like I said, I wish I had a better answer, but I don't. If you don't have an air compressor, what sprayer do you recommend? I have a whole video on my sprayer and my spraying setup. I use a gravity-fed HVLP pneumatic spray gun with a 30-gallon air tank, and it's the only gun I've ever used. I went that route with spraying because we already had the compressor out in the garage, and we already had a gun in my husband's tool stash. So unfortunately, I don't have any experience with other sprayers to be able to give you my opinion or my firsthand experience with those. Some that I see a lot of painters using that they like are the HomeRights Super Finish Max, I think it's called. which is an electric spray gun, the Wagner Flexio spray gun, and then there is a brand called Fuji that runs, you can get a gravity-fed HVLP or a siphon-fed gun, and those perform like the pneumatic guns, but they have an electric turbine that powers them. So you plug your turbine into the wall, and it has the same hose and kind of looks and acts the same as my HVLP setup. So that's that. Where do you get knobs from? All over the place. Amazon is fantastic for hardware choices at great prices. Home Depot and Lowe's are really good for kind of basic stuff. Wayfair has some hardware, but they can start to get really pricey really quickly, so I don't use them too often. Lee Valley is a great place to source hardware from. My American friends, you should definitely check out D. Lawless Hardware. It's a small online hardware company. He has a fantastic selection of hardware and kind of bits and pieces for hardware at really affordable prices. They're amazing. Where else? HomeSense or Home Goods for my US friends is a good spot to find stuff, but you never really know what you're getting when you go there. So it's kind of hit and miss. If I see something that I like in there, I always grab it because it won't be there next time. Where else for hardware? House and Canvas, houseandcanvas.com. You can use code SALVAGED5 to save $5 off of your purchase. They have great hardware. Again, the selection changes pretty frequently, but they've got some really nice stuff there as well. Etsy has a lot of nice stuff. Yeah, all over the place. All right, we're into the sander questions. Is it possible to sand without an orbital sander? No. Nope. You can, if you have a piece of furniture that is in good shape and you just need to give it a light scuff sand for extra adhesion, you can absolutely just do that by hand with some 220 grit sandpaper. But if you are wanting to buff out nicks or scratches in a piece or take it back down to bare wood, you need an electric sander. You just do. You don't have to have a really expensive top of the line version. There are plenty available at the hardware stores and on Amazon in the kind of $40 to $75 range. You need a sander. You need an electric sander. Do you sand between coats? That really depends on how the previous coat has dried. I find if it's warmer or less humid and it dries really quickly, sometimes you can get a little bit of a sandy, gritty texture in your paint. So if it doesn't feel smooth, yes, I will sand between coats. If it does feel smooth, I don't bother. I just go in with the next coat. For top coats, same thing. If it feels like it needs to be sanded, I will sand it with a super fine grit sandpaper between coats. Or if something lands in your top coat while it's drying and you need to sand it out, yes. But otherwise, if the coat underneath has dried nicely and is nice and smooth, I don't sand between coats. Here's a couple of good ones. Sometimes I wonder why I see you use the orbital sander versus the surf prep, and I want to know when to use the orbital sander versus the one you use in videos. So my surf prep is a 3x4 electric ray sander, and it's a detail sander. Surf prep carries a whole bunch of different sanders. They carry random orbital sanders, and yeah, they've got a whole bunch of stuff on their website. But the sander that I use, that you see in my videos, is the 3x4, and it's really made for fine details, furniture details, carved details, cabinetry, that kind of stuff. So it is square, and it fits up into tight corners of furniture. And Surf Prep also has a foam abrasive system that lets you contour the flat sander into really detailed, intricate surfaces. So if I'm working on something that has a lot of detail on it, I will use my Surf Prep to sand because it's nice and fast. Those are details that you would normally need to sand by hand so that you weren't accidentally grinding them flat with a flat sander. But if I'm working on a large flat surface, the orbital is just bigger. So the detail sander can do those large surfaces, but my 5-inch random orbital is just bigger, so it's fast. It covers more area faster when I'm working on large flat surfaces. That's why. Is it worth getting the vacuum attachment on an electric sander? Yes it is. I think a lot of the time we don't realize how much dust we're kicking up until it's not there anymore. I never thought that my sanding created that much dust until I had my Surf Prep and I could hook it up to my shop vac, and it's a game changer. So if you have any way at all to connect whatever sander you have to a dust collector or a shop vac, do it. Just do it. For us simple mortals that don't own fancy tools, what tips do you have? I don't think I have too many really fancy tools. I have the sprayer. I only have that sprayer, like I said, because that's what we already had. Otherwise, I would probably be working with a cheap electric version. So that's an option. Brushing, just brush. Paintbrushes are cheap. Just brush. And the only other really fancy tool that I can think of that I have is my Surf Prep 3x4, which is definitely an investment and not necessary for beginners. That's definitely a pricey high-end tool that is a serious investment. If you're working on furniture full-time or cabinetry full-time, all day, every day, that's the sander that you want to invest in. But if you're doing this part-time or you're just getting started, you can use a cheap orbital sander or a mouse sander from the hardware store, and then just hand sand your details. It's not a big deal. I did it for years and years and years. Not a big deal. You don't need anything super fancy to get into this at all. Any advice for a first timer? I think my biggest advice for a first timer is start small. Grab an end table in your house that you don't care about, or something super cheap from the thrift store, and just work on that. Get a feel for the paint and the products. You can kind of troubleshoot with brush strokes and how the paint moves, how the paint reacts, what it looks like, what it feels like. Start small. Do not start with your grandmother's precious antiques or think that you're just going to start with an entire king-size bedroom set. Small. Start small. All right, the next group of questions are kind of troubleshooting and other stuff. What is your opinion or experience with IKEA hacks, modifying and painting IKEA furniture, which is a lot of the times only available in white? IKEA is fantastic. Both of my kids' full bedrooms are IKEA furniture. Our master bedroom is IKEA furniture. It's affordable. It's quick and easy. There's a reason IKEA is as popular as it is. A lot more of their furniture than you would think is actually solid wood. Not all of it, but a lot of it is actually built out of pine, and it just has their kind of IKEA lacquered finish over it. So definitely great for hacks, furniture hacks, customizing, modifying, and painting. The only thing with IKEA, if you are painting a pre-finished IKEA piece, you want to make sure that you give it a really good, thorough scuff sanding, and probably use a good high adhesion primer, because whatever they use on their furniture is super slick and it does not like to hold on to paint. So as long as you take your time to really prep it so that it has every chance possible to make a bond with your paint, you are good to go. Go ahead. IKEA is awesome. If the furniture is made out of fake wood, do you feel bad reselling it for good money? Nope. I have never sold a piece of furniture for more than what I can buy it for through a traditional route, through a furniture store or online. Most furniture is not real solid wood. Like most furniture made in the last 100 years is not solid wood furniture. It is MDF or particle board with a veneer or a laminate. So if you're going to take your time to bring it home and fix it up and make it look like a high-end item, you need to charge what that's worth. And that holds value. That is a valuable investment that you've made in a piece of furniture, and you deserve to be paid for that. We obviously don't want to be selling junk. So if it's junk furniture that's falling apart and not fixable, skip it or use it as those starter projects to get a feel of things. And you can adjust your pricing. If it's not a super high quality piece, you don't charge as much as you would charge for a super high quality piece. But then when you are flipping those high quality pieces, you need to make sure that you're paying yourself appropriately for those high quality pieces. How do you pick pieces to flip so that you're getting the biggest bang for your buck? I do have a video on what I look for when I'm thrifting for furniture. A lot of the stuff that I found in this last year has just been stuff that I've found at the side of the road. So I'm just kind of taking it as it comes. But the things that do the best for me are dressers, because they're so versatile. Like you can use a dresser in a bedroom. Everybody has multiple bedrooms in their home. You can use a dresser as a change stand. You can use a dresser as a TV console, an entryway table. People convert them into bathroom vanities or kitchen islands. There's like a dresser is a really good multifunctional piece of furniture. So those are always great to pick up. And the other thing that is always a guaranteed sale for me are matching sets of nightstands. I don't have a whole lot of luck with single tables. They do sell eventually, but there's much more profit, and you're likely to get that profit much faster if you can find a matching pair of nightstands. What do you recommend to repair a top that is missing a chunk from a curved corner, like a French provincial piece? I haven't done any molding of furniture, but that is what I would suggest. My friend Christina at Pretty Distressed has a recent video on taking a mold out of the side of the furniture that's not damaged and creating a new piece with Bondo. And my girl Natalie at Array of Sunlight Designs also has a good tutorial video on that, so I will link those in the description box to check out. Are you choosing a piece from your garage stash for a new project randomly or in order of collection? Definitely not in order of collection. Usually it's kind of just whatever is speaking to me at the moment and what I have all the stuff for in stock in the house. So if I pick up a piece off the side of the road, I know what I'm going to do to it, but I have to order hardware or I have to order legs, or I need Doug's help to fix something on it that's outside of my skillscape. Those kind of get pushed to the back a little bit, and I tend to just focus on whatever is ready to go right in the moment. So that's how I choose what I'm working on next. What are good options for drawer liners? Drawer liners. I love peel and stick wallpaper. There's a ton available on Amazon, at Walmart, wherever you get a peel and stick wallpaper from. My other favorite option is nice thick gift wrap. I usually pick it up at HomeSense. It kind of does the job that it needs to for a good amount of time. I always stick my drawer liners down, my paper drawer liners, with a repositionable spray adhesive so that when it comes time to replace them with something new, whoever's doing that can just really peel it out nice and easily. They don't have to worry about Mod Podge or gloopy glue bits down in the bottom. The spray glue holds it where it needs to be until it doesn't need to be there anymore, and then you just peel it out like nothing. How do you get rid of the old musty smell from dresser drawers? You avoid old, smelly, musty furniture at all costs. Unfortunately, there's not a good way. There's a lot of suggestions and hacks online, like cleaning it with alcohol or bleach, letting it sit out in the sun, using baking soda or charcoal or newspaper to absorb odors. I have never found any of those to work, or to work enough to where I feel comfortable reselling a piece. If you have a piece that you have to refinish and it stinks, either the old musty or old cigarette smoke, this is going to sound terrible, but the best solution is to prime it with shellac, clear shellac, or a shellac-based primer like the Zinsser bin that I use, to just encase the stink. It's time-consuming. Unfortunately, there isn't really a good option. So if it stinks, skip it. If you have no choice, you really just need to encase everything, top, bottom, underneath, behind, inside the frames, the drawers, all the way around, with shellac. I gotta sit down again. I'm losing blood flow to my toes here. How do you fix water damage, or would you just avoid those pieces altogether? So when I think water damage, I think of a few different scenarios. There's water damage where something has been sitting in water and it has swollen, or the veneer has come loose. And mold is another water issue. I would say if you've got a piece that is moldy, skip it. It's done. It's unfortunate, but it's done. Swollen MDF from particle board is another one where I'd say it's not worth the time or expense to repair those pieces. If you're talking about water damage, like rings from glasses or plant pots on surfaces, they can be really hard to get out, especially if they've been there for a while. There are a few hacks, like smearing mayonnaise on those rings if they're fresh, but if they're old, watermarks, my best advice again is going to be to prime it with a good stain blocking primer, like a shellac primer, and paint it. Yeah, a lot of you can try sanding them out, but a lot of the times they're too deep. Prime it and paint it. What do you do if you notice a piece of hair in the finished piece with polyurethane on top? What do you do if you notice a brush stroke after you've already applied polyurethane? It happens. Either your own hair or brush bristles sometimes that you just don't notice until you've sealed it all up. And in that case, again, you just got to fix it. So yeah, my recommendation would be sand it down, put some more paint on it, and try again with your polyurethane. You gotta make it right. All right. What is the longevity of your pieces? Do you ever receive photos from their new homes, and do clients provide testimonials and reviews? So the longevity of my pieces is the same as any other piece of furniture that you're going to buy from the store. The longevity of furniture, whether it is a factory finished wood piece or a refinished piece, entirely depends on the consumer. A painted finish is not bulletproof, but neither is a wood finish from the store. You need to use coasters. You need to be careful about scratchy pieces of decor. you need to be cautious. If you don't take care of it, it will have wear and tear. That's true of any furniture. If you abuse it, it won't last. So the same is true for painted pieces. I use the best products and techniques that I know, but it's not bulletproof. It's a painted finish. So you do need to be a little bit cautious. Do I ever receive photos of them in their new home? Absolutely. And I love them. I love to see where they end up, and the client's kind of finished vision in the space where it's going to live. That's amazing. Do I ever get talking too much. Do I ever receive testimonials or reviews? Yes, I haven't ever solicited for them. I get them on my Facebook page and Facebook Marketplace, and a few other buy and sell apps that I use. I get reviews. I haven't had a bad one yet. Knock on wood. But yeah. This is a good one. Do you wait for pieces to fully cure before you sell? I've been waiting 3 to 4 weeks, but maybe I'm just too cautious or not experienced enough. I do not wait the full cure time to get a piece out of here. As long as it's dry and you've let each step dry between coats of paint and between coats of top coat, you're good to go. You need to be a little extra cautious with stuff in the first week or so, but if you get to the end of your 21 or 30 day cure time, it's not going to magically make it bulletproof. It's still paint. It can still get damaged if it gets knocked or scratched or whatever. So you don't need to wait. I always send my pieces home with a care card that tells people the date that they've been painted and explains the curing time and explains how to look after their furniture, how to clean it, reminds them to use coasters and felt pads. Yeah, you don't need to wait. All right, now I've got a group of questions about photography and videography. So the first one is, how do you take such beautiful photos of your finished pieces? Thank you. I'm glad that you like them. They always look so enticing. What equipment or filters are you using? So here is the big secret. I use my phone. I use the camera on my phone for all of my photography and all of my filming. It's my phone. I recently upgraded, I think sometime in February. I traded in my iPhone 7 for an iPhone 12. I wanted a Pro, but they were still sold out from the Christmas rush. So I have an iPhone 12 that I'm using currently. That's that. Filters. Don't filter your furniture pictures. Please don't filter your furniture pictures. You are going to distort the product. You are going to alter the color. The best way to display your work for sale and on your social media platforms is sunlight and a straight on shot. I see a lot of pictures of people like standing in front of a dresser and taking a picture sort of at a downward angle. Those kind of detail shots can be good for in your ad, but your scroll stopper, the first picture that people see when they're shopping for your furniture, should be at eye level. So I sit on the ground to take my photos of my furniture. Sit down in front of your piece and take a straight on forward facing shot. Even if you have all kinds of beautiful, lovely wood on the top to show, or transfers or stenciling that you can't see from that forward facing angle, that needs to be the shot. Okay, I'm rambling. Do you stage or style your own pieces for photos? Yeah, this is me. This is the whole team right here. I am the finder of the furniture. I am the fixer-upper of the furniture. I do all of the staging, photography, videography, marketing and sales. It's just me. Do you have camera fear at all? Yeah, I do. I don't know very many people that are comfortable in front of the camera. It is awkward. Like, I've been sitting here talking to you guys, talking to my phone for an hour now. It's not natural. It does take practice. My first lot of videos, please don't go back and watch, are terrible. They're terrible. Awkward, not natural. Yeah, I don't like doing it. I don't. This is not my jam, but it's what I signed up for. So here I am, making the best of it. And what camera do you use? Yeah, my phone, my iPhone 12. All right, the last group of questions is about selling, the sales side of furniture flipping. Can you go more into depth about the selling aspect and how to use Facebook Marketplace to sell your pieces? So, the secret is, there's no secret. I use Facebook Marketplace just like everybody else. I post my pictures. I find I get more traction if I post on a Thursday or Friday night because people are kind of at the end of their week and looking for maybe to like go on a drive and pick something up on the weekend. You want to be posting that initial wow shot, eye level, straight on, front on, as your main ad in your photo, your main photo in your ad. See, I'm talking too much. I can't talk anymore. And then you want to have also some detail shots. So shots from the side. If you have any stencils or wood grain that you want to show off, you can do a detail shot there. I also like to add pictures of the drawers, the insides of the drawers, to show that they're clean or lined and in good shape. And I also like to add in pictures if it's a drawer that has any dovetailing on it. I like to add that in as well, just so they know what they're getting. They know that it's a quality made piece. In the write-up for your ad, you want to be detailed, but also keep it short and sweet. So you want to let them know what you're offering. This is a 6-drawer dresser that's been newly refinished. This is the color of it. All of the drawers are in good working order. You want to always include your measurements. People will still ask you, even though it's in your ad, but at least you tried, right? Add in your measurements and add in any selling information. So I always put a little blurb in the bottom saying that I don't hold any pieces without receipt of payment, whether that's a deposit or they're going to pay the full amount. Because I found that if you hold stuff for people that haven't already paid for it, they never show up. Marketplace is not a great place to be for a seller. And I also include in that blurb what methods of payment I take. So I take cash, I'll take an e-transfer, or they can PayPal me. So that's all there. And then I also add in the location. So I will write, this is available for pickup in Bradford, Ontario. I don't offer delivery. If you want to offer delivery, you can write something along the lines of delivery available for an additional charge. Please message me for more info on delivery, that kind of stuff. But you want to have all of those points listed in your ad. What else about Facebook Marketplace? So I am a member of a whole bunch of different buy and sell groups within Facebook Marketplace. So I post into all of those location specific, like all of the towns around me have their own buy and sell group. I post in all of those groups that are local to me. I think that's it. I think that's the whole shebang. One other thing. You have to remember, Facebook Marketplace can be super frustrating. There are a lot of lowballers. There are a lot of people looking for garage sale items. But since you've included your beautiful professional photograph of your item and it doesn't look like it's sitting in someone's basement or in their garage, if you ever have someone lowball you on price, something that you're not comfortable with, don't be mean, don't be rude. All you need to do is say no thank you, or I'm sorry but my price is firm. Just always be polite and respectful, and remember that you're representing a business and it's your business. So it matters how you speak to people. And sometimes those people that offered you $50 for a $500 dresser do eventually come back and pay your full asking price. So you never know who's on the other end. Always be nice. Where do you store your finished pieces before they sell, and how do you keep them from getting damaged? I store my finished pieces in our living room. They're just in our living room, kind of haphazardly shoved in the corner. They have blankets on them to keep them protected, but yeah, they're just in our living room. I don't have a ton of furniture for sale at any one time. There are a lot of people that find it useful or helpful to have a storage locker where they can take their finished work to, again, not have people from online coming to their address to pick up. So it's a good place to pick up, but it's also just a good safe place to store finished pieces. I don't need that for the amount of furniture that I have coming and going. So yeah, it's just in my living room. How many pieces do you typically have in storage at a time? Not many. You guys have seen in all the videos, the stuff that is stacked up behind me in the garage is stuff, that's what I have to work on coming up. That's it. That's all. There isn't a secret stash anywhere else. And then whatever hasn't sold or hasn't been picked up yet is in my living room. What do you do if you have a project that doesn't seem to be selling after being listed for a few months? Do you flip it into something else or just wait? So I have a tendency of being really impatient with stuff. So if something's been sitting, if we get to like the 6-week mark, I'm probably very likely to just drag it back out to the garage, paint it a different color, maybe change the hardware and relist it. But sometimes it just takes a while. Like sometimes it takes a couple of months to sell a piece of furniture. So being patient is necessary. But if you want to, if you're bored of it and it's not doing anything, you can repaint it. On the other hand, sometimes all you need to do is just take some fresh photographs and relist it. So just pull your listing down, restage your piece, get some fresh photos on it, and then put up a new listing and see what happens. A lot of the time, that is all it needs. What sells? I'm having a hard time selling painted pieces lately, even with a hint of wood. I probably take too much time, if anything, so I know it's not a quality issue. So sometimes furniture just doesn't sell. It really has ups and downs. In the last 5 years, I've had lots of ups and downs. Sometimes everything sells and you have people messaging you asking like, where's more? I need more. And then sometimes it's just crickets. So like I said, patience is key in this business. And that goes back to the previous answer. I have really good luck with dressers because they're so multifunctional, and I have really good luck with matching sets of nightstands. I try and avoid dining sets, tables and chairs, because they take up so much room in the shop while you're working on them, and also in storage once they're finished, and they're really labor intensive, and I find that there's just not a ton of interest in them. I also don't have any luck with coffee tables, so I avoid those like the plague. What sells? Dressers and nightstands for me. Do you offer any custom orders? For instance, if I have a dresser, could I drop it off for you? Or do you only flip things that you find? I'm a little bit of an anomaly in the furniture painting business in that I do not take any custom orders. I have really bad anxiety and it has just never appealed to me. Most furniture painters make their money with customs. It's a guaranteed income. You can book out months in advance. You know that you have a consistent income coming in, and a lot of times return customers. It's not the right fit for me, but it is, like I said, the bread and butter of most furniture painters. So it is definitely a fantastic option. This is the big one. How do you determine your prices? I don't pull them out of thin air like a lot of people seem to have been accusing me of lately. There is a strategy in it. I know my market really well. I've been doing this here in this location for 5 years. I know what I can get out of my work. I know what my work is worth, and I'm not afraid to ask those prices. That being said, I do have a pricing chart that I follow. It's a couple of years old. I will put a link to it down below. But it's a chart that just gives you kind of a ballpark of where you should be on certain pieces. So it's broken down by item. So an end table should be between this number and this number. A dresser should be between this number and this number. Country Chic Paint also has put together a really valuable e-course. I will link that down below as well. That goes through the whole process of selling your furniture online, how to create an effective ad. And they have a really good chart in that e-course as well that breaks down how much you should be spending on a piece, how much time you should be putting into flipping that piece, and then a suggestion of final selling prices. So final selling prices are also going to be dependent on where you are. If you are close to a major city, or if you're out in the middle of nowhere. I'm out in the middle of nowhere, but I'm only an hour's drive north of Toronto, which is a major metropolis. So I have access to those people, those customers, where I am. It's no big deal for them to drive out on the weekend and pick up a piece of furniture. And my price is still much lower than regular retail on a lot of furniture. So that is a factor that plays into it. Also, your experience is going to play into it. If you are brand new, you cannot ask top dollar. You can't. Your work isn't as good. You need to put the time in and practice and get good at what you're doing, and then you can start asking for more money. Other factors that go into pricing, what you've done to a piece is also going to affect your pricing. So both of those kind of pricing guidelines that I have a caveat for if you have spent more time on that piece, if you've done a really intricate stencil, if this is like a hand-painted, detailed work of art, if it's covered in transfers, you can charge more for those things. Yeah, that's pricing. How many pieces do you flip in a week? So I used to be painting probably 3, 4, or 5 pieces of furniture a week when I was selling, when that was my business. Now, with the YouTube channel growing the way that it has, my business is creating 1 piece a week, filming the whole process, editing the video for the whole process, and putting it up on YouTube and my other social media platforms as inspiration. So now, this year, I've just been doing 1 piece a week, and it's for content. My income from selling a whole bunch of furniture every week has now been replaced by my ad revenue here on YouTube. So this is what I'm doing. And it's great because we keep getting locked down and small businesses are closing and there are all kinds of restrictions being put in place and taken out, and you know, things things are changing all the time here. Things are changing all the time here. So being able to stay at home, work on one piece every week, make a video of it, and share it with you guys is my full-time job now. If you could do a piece just for you, what would it be and how would you paint it? I would get myself a really clean, lined, mid-century modern-ish dresser. Probably like a 6 or 9 drawer lowboy. And I would paint it white. Rustoleum linen white. Because, yeah. Just plain white. That is me. I just like really nice, clean, crisp, white furniture. That's a really boring answer. Sorry. That's what I would do. All right, that is the end of my question and answer period for this one, guys. Again, I want to say thank you so much. We are so close to 100K. Maybe even by the time I post this, we'll be there. Probably not. We'll probably be really close though. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. If you are not already subscribed, please make sure that you do that before you go, and make sure that you have the notifications bell turned on so that you don't miss out when I post my next furniture flip. I post a new flip every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, that's it. I love you guys, and I will catch you next time.